west side. They always say west is best in Shetland as anywhere else, so fingers crossed for the best weather in there. The fuel station here on our right with the prices, 1459 for unleaded liter. It's slightly cheaper than it used to be. I put some fuel cuts and something in the place from government, so it used to be way over 150 for a liter, but it still kind of surprises people here because we have so much oil in the seas surrounding Shetland, but our oil or the fuel that we use in the cars of course have to be imported from Scottish mainland as everything else, so you get a slightly higher price than here on everything, but not too bad. Now we are leaving Lerwick through its second exit or entrance. This is a bit more industrial area. This part of Lerwick, the big brown building with chimney is our power station, and behind the power station is a complex of blue buildings with the big signs in Shetland Catch. That's the largest European fish processing company. It's also the biggest private employer in Shetland. So basically, nearly anyone that is looking for a job, then you could be sure that there will be something to do in the fish factory, which is a very hard job. I used to work there in the reception in Shetland Catch. They are processing mostly mackerel there, and then they pack it in big 20-kilo boxes, and they freeze it, and then it's being exported all around the world. So it's Shetland Catch. Various factories, garages. This area has developed quite a lot after the oil discovery. There is machinery available for hire. You see that we do have those five windmills or 5 wind aerogenerators. So this is how it looks like with windmills, and imagine having over 100 of them spread out in some area on this main island, which is what is most likely to happen in the future. So it does change the scenery quite a lot. But why not to make the use of the wind as well? But it will take a while for the final decision to be made on the wind farm in Shetland. And the golf course now on our right is a rather large golf course with 18 holes. Also in charge of collecting the money for the Scottish King from Shetland.
As the lay-by is just over here on the left.
So he did collect the taxes, but he never sent anything back to Scotland. And after 15 years being in charge of Shetland and Orkney, he got called in Edinburgh to explain why there are no taxes coming from here. But he had to be escorted from his Scallaway castle to Edinburgh, and then he failed to explain why there were no money coming from Shetland, and he got executed. And the whole place was just in use for 15 years. That was it. So that's the village of Scallaway below us with its marina, and there are other islands in the back, Burra and Trondra, that are connected to mainland by the bridge that you can see on your left as well. So if you would like to go for a photo outside, please do so. I will be outside.
Oh, you mean the Shetland bus?
Shetland
Not
bus,
modern buses.
No, it's not
Ah.
the buses. It's slightly
Yes.
confusing to begin with.
I
but
know what you mean now, yes, I
it's-
read the story.
Yeah.
No, I like old classic buses, that's all, and I wondered, was there a bus
Yes.
museum? Do you know if they ever had double-decker buses on Shetland? Well, very common on the mainland, you know.
Like I've seen one here, to be honest, but it
Right.
was just like somebody bought it from somewhere and just had it for
used
fun.
it, yes.
But yeah, it was never used like a public service transport, or it was always smaller buses.
Mm.
Not from you.
So years ago, wherever you went in Britain, there was a different colour for the local bus, different combinations of colours.
Yeah.
So it used to be nice to go to a new place and say, oh, look what the colours they have here. Whereas
colours.
today, they're more or less all the same, all around the country. And what's that, an industrial site down there?
Stone quarry.
Stone quarry.
I think it's red sandstone
Uh-huh.
granite
Okay, so we spoke about the Scallaway Castle, and we will jump again in time to. I would like to explain a bit more about Shetland Bus. Shetland Bus is the name for the wartime operation that was happening here in Shetland, and was based in Scallaway. It was during Second World War when the Norway was occupied by Nazi Germany, and then they set up an operation here that they would sail small fishing boats under cover of the darkness in the winter when the seas are very rough. And they were sailing those fishing boats, pretending they were fishermen, but in fact it was the resistance movement that was taking provisions and equipment and army stuff to support Norwegian resistance, and they were taking the refugees back to the British soil. So that's why we have a big Shetland Bus Museum here in Scallaway, to commemorate the memory of all these people that were involved in it, mostly Norwegians and Shetlanders, so it's a very strong link between Shetland and Norway. Be able to get more information about it in the museum. And we will go across here to our first exit in the roundabout, just up the way towards Scallaway Castle and Scallaway Museum. And you will have free time to go to the museum and the castle. There is no fee in the museum, but if you like the service, you can leave the donation for them, because it's all run by volunteers in the local community, and they are not being paid for being there at all. It's been a new museum for Shetland Bus has been built recently as well, and it was all paid by donations of the local people and the visitors as well. So that's the museum now here. On our left we will park here as well in the lay-by. And the castle is just below it. So we should have around 45 minutes here. So let's say just after 3:30.
hat suits you well, actually.
What's the hat then?
Nice one.
Can you give me a hat there?
It's a Vikings hat. I saw my first one of those this morning.
Oh, your flannel.
Apparently you can only walk around the outside of this castle. It's locked up. Oh yeah, it's safe to walk inside. And what's the story of the orca whale then? Somebody says Shetland Composites.com. I guess they're a plastics moulding company. That's a good way of advertising their facility.
He wants to do it himself, doesn't he? It's just retouching what he's doing. Of course, it's and his sister, isn't he?
Well, bye-bye, Mr. Shetland, or Mrs. Shetland. Nice to meet you.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it's the village of Scallaway from different view. The houses in various colors on our right. That's one of the newest council housing estates in Shetland. So that's another quite good example of how the money from the oil funds are being used here. Scallaway has its own school that is on your left here. The primary department up to the age of 12. There's a small leisure center as well. 2 pubs, a big hotel as well that serves local seafood, and that's quite a nice place to live in Scallaway, close enough to Lerwick, but not in the main center. More of a quiet life here. And very soon we will be turning left, and that will be again single track road. It will take us through the Tingwall Valley. Tingwall Valley is another very fertile area, source of limestone and underneath the soil, so a good farming place. In Shetland we don't use word farm too much, it's rather croft in areas and crofters, rather than in the past it would be croft would consist of one small house. People would have kept sheep, maybe 1 or 2 cows. As I said, the land is, the soil is not as fertile as anywhere else, so it's quite a struggle to grow anything here. But you would definitely see potatoes that are called locally tatis, and cabbage, neeps, turnips. For anything person can't hear us probably. He was listening to some music and it surprised him. But back to the land, many people in this like country areas, they have their greenhouses where you can grow more fragile fruit or anything. I saw myself like the apple trees being grown in greenhouse, which I thought it was hilarious because there was just one apple on the tree in the greenhouse, so it's quite difficult to grow anything in Shetland, but people do try, and you will see the trees as well being planted here, but it is said that it takes 7 times longer to grow tree here in Shetland than in Scotland, the mainland. This is quite picturesque area, very green. At the end of the autumn, the heather on the hill on your right, it turns completely purple, so it's quite nice. There is a freshwater lake on your right, it's called Asta Lake. And we have another golf course coming up soon on your right, the Asta golf course. This is a bit smaller golf course, it has 9 holes.